What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. And as talks start to resume for the next stimulus check to be sent out directly to Americans, and also another unemployment package, another unemployment benefit, and a major stimulus package, Nancy Pelosi seeks to be the Speaker of the House again. However, many are calling to have her fired from her position. But before we get into that, give this video a like down below. It really helps out our channel. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe down below and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Both House Speaker and Leader of the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, and Senate Majority Leader, at least for the time being, Mitch McConnell, have said in the last 48 hours that they want more stimulus and it will be their #1 priority when the elections are over, which is basically now. Mitch McConnell says, quote, "I do think we need another stimulus package, but I think it reinforces the argument that I've been making for the last few months that something smaller, rather than throwing another $3 trillion at this issue, is more appropriate, with it highly targeted towards things that are directly related to the virus, which we all know is not going away until we get a vaccine." Nancy Pelosi responded and said, no, it doesn't appeal to me at all because they still have not agreed to crush the virus. Say it with me, crush the virus. She says that isn't anything that we should even be looking at, aka a smaller stimulus package. It wasn't the right thing to do before. However, Nancy Pelosi is being criticized by not only the White House, who has said that she overstepped her boundaries by thinking that the Democrats were going to take a clean sweep of the election. They would retain the House, take the Senate and the presidency. And although that is very close to happening, with Joe Biden now being in the lead and President Donald Trump falling behind in states that he must win, the Republicans at this point might still eke out the Senate, and that would prevent the Democrats from getting a clean sweep the Senate, the House, and the presidency. However, Nancy Pelosi is seeking to become Speaker of the House, basically the leader of the Democrats in the House, which is a position that you must be elected to once you're already elected to Congress. She's formally seeking another 2 years as Speaker, saying, quote, "I am writing to request your support to be re-elected as the Speaker." Nancy Pelosi, who is currently 80 years old, says, quote, "Our vision for the next 2 years must be built on the success of Democratic House majority in the 116th Congress, and to harness the extraordinary visions, values, and vibrancy of our caucus to secure the progress that the American people deserve." I think what most people would say the American people deserve is more stimulus checks, unemployment checks for people that are basically have lost their jobs because of this pandemic, which is no fault of their own, and money to get our economy going instead of into another recession. She says, "In that spirit, I am writing to request your support to be re-elected as Speaker. I do so with utmost respect for the diverse viewpoints in our Democratic caucus, the gravity of this role, the urgency of the challenges ahead. I also do so with great joy and appreciation and appreciation to so many of you who have already offered your support." However, Democrats, her own fellow colleagues, in addition to the Republicans, have already started to say that Nancy Pelosi should not be the Speaker again for delaying the stimulus package so much and basically months going without any progress at all, while without a deal actually being made. Democrats are saying things like, "He's the only one prepared and positioned," which would be Hakeem Jeffries, who is her competitor to become Speaker of the House. "He's the only one prepared and positioned. He bridges moderates and progressives better than anyone. And most importantly, he's not Nancy Pelosi." This is coming from her own fellow Democrats. Nancy Pelosi has been taking probably more criticism from her own Democratic Party than she ever has now that the election passed and Democrats actually lost seats in the House. They didn't take the Senate. Well, at least not yet. There is still a slim chance of that happening. And they didn't pass a stimulus package, with all that being said and done. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and freshman members of the Democratic Party's left wing took fire from Democrat Representative Abigail Spanberger during a Thursday conference call among House Democrats, with Spanberger blaming poor messaging on the Democratic Party losing seats in the House of Representatives. Quote, the number one concern that people brought to me in my race that I barely re-won was defunding the police. And I've heard from colleagues who say, oh, it's the language of the streets. We should respect that. We're in Congress. We are professionals. We are supposed to talk about things in the way where we mean what we are talking about. If we don't mean we should defund the police, we shouldn't say that. Spanberger also went on to blast the Democrats, saying, we need to not ever use the word socialist or socialism ever again. A direct shot at some of the Democrats, such as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or known as AOC. If we are classifying the Tuesday election as a success from a congressional standpoint, we will get effing torn apart in 2020 if things continue the way they are under House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So, will Nancy Pelosi be fired from her job as a Speaker of the House, or will Hakeem Jeffries take her place? This is how it will go down. The Speaker of the House is elected at the beginning of a new Congress in January by a majority of the representatives, elect from candidates separately chosen by the majority and the minority party caucuses. These candidates are elected by their party members at the organizing caucuses held soon after the new Congress is elected, which will be in January. In cases of an unexpected vacancy during the Congress, a new Speaker is elected by the majority of the House from candidates previously chosen by the two parties. The Speaker of the House is simultaneously the House's presiding officer, party leader, and institution's administrative head, among other duties. Basically, if Nancy Pelosi loses the Speaker position, she pretty much becomes a nobody in Congress, just like all the other 435 House members. She's just basically one of 400 people. If she loses the House Speaker position, she will no longer be the negotiator for the Democrats for the stimulus package, the stimulus check. She just won't be there at all. She'll be basically like any other House representative that you almost hardly ever hear from unless you're following politics, to the minute. Now, the other big scenario that is going to really determine what type of stimulus we get, if we get two stimulus packages, one now and one after the new Congress comes in and the new president potentially comes in January, like Nancy Pelosi wants. She wants a stimulus check now and a stimulus check after Joe Biden is elected. Of course, she thinks he's going to be elected, which he is in the lead to do. But the problem is that it all comes down to the Senate, and that could be a tie. As you can see here in the current Senate race, the Republican parties have won 48 seats and the Democratic Party has won 46 seats. However, there is two what are classified as independents, even though they almost always typically vote for Democrats on bills. So there's technically kind of 48 Democrats right now in the Senate and 48 Republicans, with four seats still being decided. One of the big deciding factors is going to be the Senate race in Georgia, where the current leader is Raphael Warnock, a Democrat who has 33% of the vote only, and two Republicans, Kelly Loeffler and Doug Collins, who have 26% and 20%. The problem with this is, under Georgia state law, a race must advance to a runoff election if no candidate receives over 50% of the vote. The other U.S. Senator race in Georgia is actually the same position, where incumbent David Perdue, a Republican, has 49.8% of the vote. And again, that's not 50%. And John Ossoff from the Democratic Party in Georgia has 47.9%. Although it's 2.2% less, neither of the parties for the U.S. Senate in Georgia have met that 50% rule. These runoff elections in Georgia, which will be on January 5th, are expected to be incredibly expensive, according to the Center of Responsive Politics. Ossoff's and Purdue's campaigns spent nearly $45 million combined ahead of the November elections. Warnock's and Lawfer's campaign also spent nearly $40 million. And with the fate of the Senate in the balance that could go to Democrats or Republican, it is likely that the Democrats and the Republicans will throw millions or hundreds of $1 million at these races because it means so much in the big picture. Honestly, at stake with this is that if the Democrats win this, it's a complete game changer because then the Democrats will have the House, the Senate, and at least the way things are going, they'll have the presidency with President Donald Trump now falling behind in several states that he must win every single one of them. So if the Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, they'll have free reign to pass stimulus bills, multiple stimulus bills, stimulus checks. We know the Democrats want $600 per week on employment. Nancy Pelosi will have her free reign if she's reelected. If not, it'll be Hakeem Jeffries. But the Democrats will be able to pass everything, including higher taxes, unemployment, stimulus checks. Pretty much everything on the Democratic wish list will be able to be passed almost without opposition. I will keep you guys updated as soon as more information comes out. Make sure to like this video if you haven't yet and subscribe down below and click the bell icon so you can be notified when we go live. I will have another video coming out for you guys in a few hours from now at 11 p.m. Eastern Time or 8 p.m. California time, a bonus video. You won't want to miss it. You can click on this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check videos next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have dozens of students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income by selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.